We were going to have an amazing life together. She promised to start a business, and I believed her. When she asked for money to invest, I gave her thousands. How much? I asked quietly. About $80,000, she said, hesitating. I nearly choked. Let me guess, there was no business. Danielle laughed bitterly. No, the business was her taking vacations, buying expensive bags, and, oh yeah, dating other men behind my back. My stomach sank. I only found out after I saw strange charges on our joint credit card, flights I never took, hotel stays in cities I'd never visited. When I confronted her, she made me feel crazy, saying I was paranoid and didn't trust her. That sounded just like something Madison would say. So what happened? I asked. I finally figured it out and kicked her out, but by then, my savings were gone, my credit was ruined, and I had to start therapy just to understand how badly I was fooled. I shook my head, and now she's doing it again, with my son. Danielle leaned forward, her face dark. You need to get him away from her. She won't stop until she has everything. It hit me like a freight train. My son wasn't just married to a greedy woman, he was married to a professional con artist. The scary part was that if Madison had fooled Danielle before, she knew exactly how to hide her tracks. This lawsuit might not only be about money, it could be about keeping me quiet. Because I had caught her in the act. A plan begins. Danielle, I said slowly, do you have any proof? Emails, texts, anything? She nodded. I still have everything. I even tried to take her to court once, but she had already stolen all my money, and I couldn't afford legal fees. She got away with it. I pulled out my phone. Not this time. I called Paul, my lawyer. We have a problem, I said as soon as he answered. What now? He asked. Madison has done this before, and I have someone who can prove it. Paul paused before replying. Meet me at my office tomorrow. We're going to make sure she never does it again. Setting the trap. When I got home, my head was spinning with ideas. If Madison had tricked one person before, how many others might she have fooled? I started looking into her past. I checked her legal records and found an old lawsuit from 4 years ago. A financial company had sued her for unpaid loans. Then I looked on social media. Madison had erased much of her history, but I found old photos of her with different people in different cities, all looking very happy together. The final clue was an anonymous post from a woman in another state, warning people about a woman who sounded exactly like Madison. I took screenshots of everything. Then I texted my son, we need to talk. I know what Madison has done. If you don't listen to me this time, you'll regret it. The text that changed everything. At first, there was no reply. Hours went by, then a full day. Late at night, my phone buzzed. A text from my son said, meet me at our old coffee shop tomorrow, alone. Alone made me nervous. I had come too far to stop now. I didn't know that the person waiting wouldn't be my son. When I arrived, it was Madison sitting at a corner table. Her back was straight and her fingers curled around a cup of cappuccino she didn't seem to want to drink. Her makeup was perfect and her hair soft and curly, but her eyes were empty. She didn't smile or say hello, she just stared at me. Where's my son? I asked calmly. She tilted her head and shrugged. He's not coming. I didn't sit. So you intercepted me? You knew I was coming to see him, and you decided to meet me instead? She laughed softly. No, sweetheart, I'm here to warn you. Her boldness made my blood boil. Warn me? I asked. Yes, she sipped her coffee slowly, as if we were old friends. You're making a mistake. Don't push this any further. I sat down, determined to make her understand what she was up against. Oh, Madison, I said, leaning in, I know everything. For the first time, I saw her jaw tighten. Everything? She asked. Danielle told me all about you. I found the lawsuit, the unpaid debts, and even forum posts warning people about you. If you don't back off, I'll make sure my son knows exactly who he married. Her nostrils flared, but her voice stayed calm. And then what? You think he'll leave me? You really believe he'll trust you over me? I think he'll struggle to explain why his wife leaves a trail of ruined lives behind her. That struck a nerve. She slammed her cup down a bit too hard, and her eyes grew darker. Listen, you bitter old hag, she started. I raised a finger. Watch your tone, sweetheart. Aren't you supposed to be the sweet, loving wife? She took a deep breath and then smiled, a fake, chilling smile. Fine, let's get to the point. What do you want? I want you out of my son's life. She laughed, a real laugh this time. That's not going to happen. Then I'll ruin you. Her smile vanished. You already tried and failed. Everything, the house, the accounts, is in my name. If you think my husband will choose you over his wife, you clearly don't know him at all. That hit hard. I had spent so many years believing I knew my son, thinking we would always be close, but now, I realized he wasn't my priority, she was, and she wasn't about to let him go. You want a war? She whispered. Fine, but know this, I play dirty. I stood up, grabbed my purse, and looked down at her. Then you should have done your homework, sweetheart, because I did. And with that, I walked out. At a bridal shower, I overheard my future daughter-in-law say, after we marry, I'll make sure she's gone for good. My son grinned and replied, she won't even know what hit her. I pretended not to notice, smiling and giving them a big wedding check, but when they tried to cash it, they discovered what I had really done. I had always dreamed of the day my son would find someone he loved and start his own family. As a single mother working 2 jobs, I saved every penny to give him every chance in life. I believed we were close and shared a special bond. However, I learned the hard way that people change when money and power come into play. I found out the truth at his bridal shower, a conversation that changed everything. The shower was held at a fancy country club, organized by the bride's family. I arrived with a smile and a generous check tucked away in my purse as a wedding gift. I wasn't rich, but I had saved for years to help my son and his future wife start their new life, maybe with a down payment on a house. Walking past the restroom after getting food, I heard my son's voice. She won't even know what hit her. He laughed. I froze. He was talking to his fiancée, my future daughter-in-law. My heart pounded as I realized they were talking about me. After we get married, she said with obvious anger, I'll make sure she's out of our lives for good. No more surprise visits. No more phone calls. I don't want her anywhere near our kids. Don't worry, my son added. She still thinks I'm her little boy. She'll give up the check. And once the money clears, we'll cut her off completely. It will be so easy. They both laughed. I had to hold on to the table for support. My son, the child I raised and sacrificed so much for, was planning to take my money and cut me out of his life as if I meant nothing. But I didn't confront them right away. Instead, I took a deep breath, put on a smile, and returned to my seat. I handed them the wedding card like everyone else. Later, when they tried to cash the check, they discovered my plan. I had a choice: cry, beg, or let things turn against them. In the end, I chose to play along. At the end of the shower, I went up to my son and his fiancée, smiled, handed them the card with the check inside, and said, I'm so proud of you both. I know you'll do great things together. They accepted the card without a second thought. They had no idea I had overheard them. But here's the twist: the check wasn't real. Well, it was a valid check from a bank account, but that account belonged to my late father's estate and had been closed long ago. No bank would cash it. To make it even sweeter, I made the check for $40,000, a sum so high they wouldn't question it and would accept it greedily. 2 weeks later, my son called in a rage. Mom, the check bounced, he shouted. I replied sweetly, oh, that's odd. Let me check with the bank. I let him stew for a day before calling back. I spoke with the bank. There's a problem, the account is no longer active. I'm so sorry, but I'll try to sort it out. After the wedding, he fell silent. He knew exactly what that meant. The wedding was in just 4 days, and they had already spent money on the venue, catering, and the dress, expecting to use that $40,000. Now, they were in serious financial trouble. Suddenly, I wasn't just the annoying mom they planned to cut out. I was now the lifeline they desperately needed. The next day, my son and his fiancée came to my house. When I opened the door, I saw them looking stressed and embarrassed. We need to talk, my son said as he crossed his arms. About what? I asked, pretending to be innocent. His fiancée added in a sugary tone, we just wanted to make sure everything is okay. We wouldn't want you to feel left out of the wedding. After letting them speak, I tilted my head and said, so, when were you planning to cut me out of your lives? Before or after the honeymoon? My son's face turned pale. His fiancée's jaw dropped. What are you talking about? He stammered. I heard you at the bridal shower, I said calmly. Remember when you said I wouldn't even know what hit me? Funny how that turned out. His fiancée looked like she wanted to vanish. Mom, it's not like that, my son protested. Oh, but it is, I replied. I was going to give you real money, but now you'll get nothing from me, and if you ever try to contact me again, I'll tell everyone exactly what you planned. they realized what was happening. With the wedding just 3 days away, and thousands still owed to vendors, they couldn't afford it. I closed the door on them. The wedding did take place, but it wasn't the fancy event they had imagined. They had to cut costs, cheaper flowers, a smaller venue, and a less expensive dress. I later heard that the groom's family had to help out last minute, but it still wasn't enough. People whispered about how rushed everything seemed. A month after the wedding, my son called again, this time not yelling but begging. "Mom, I'm sorry, we messed up, can we talk?" I simply blocked his number. Sometimes, the best revenge is letting people suffer the consequences of their own greed. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more great stories. Don't forget to tap the notification bell, so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts in the comments, we love hearing from you. See you next time, and take care.